Donald Trump is a hypocrite when it comes to his child's education on the one hand, the education of Barron Trump, and of your children on the other. He wants his son to be safe and doesn't care about yours. This is something we all assume to be true. We know Trump doesn't care about regular working and middle class people, and the story sort of broke last week that Barron Trump's school wasn't going to be doing a full reopening probably in the fall, even though Trump was threatening schools that didn't reopen, public schools with a loss of funding, and so was Betsy DeVos. But the story reemerged today because Trump tweeted the following a few hours ago. Cases up because of big testing. Much of our country is doing very well. Open the school. So basically what he's saying is, one, that lie again, the idea that the US caseload is only rising because of testing, when that's not the case. Increased testing, yes, but also increased amount of people being affected because of this crisis. But the point here is, in many parts of the country, reopening is not safe, but we've seen Trump and his administration basically argue that schools, regardless of a lot of these on-the-ground factors, should be punished if they don't reopen. They should lose funding and have other sorts of negative effects on their ability to operate later on if they don't open now. And this is all because for the 1% Trump actually sees value in education, that for the children of the rich and wealthy and well-connected, for Barron Trump, but also children like Barron Trump all over the country, education has value. For the rest of us, for working and middle-class people, for the poor, for the racialized, for people of color, all these sorts of non-Trumpian people, he sees schools as one thing above all: a warehouse to stuff your kids so you can go to work in unsafe and poorly paid conditions. Remember that this administration, I've talked about this, has called working people human capital stock. That's what they've referred to human beings as, livestock, to be exploited for the good of the economy, for the good of the profit makers, for the good of the capitalist class. And now they're coming to a realization that you can't mobilize the human capital stock if the really young human capital stock, people that need to go to school and or daycare, can't go back to those spaces because they're closed or they're only operating at partial capacity. So what you need to do is force the kids back into daycare and or school, allowing the parents to go back to work, allowing the older human capital stock to be remobilized for the good of the economy, even if unsafe, even if at wages that are so low they're barely worth working for, given how exploitative, given how dangerous it's going to be. That's what we're looking at here. And so for Trump, it's really not about your child's education. It's not. He's not doing this because he has this noble belief that we need to get the kids back to school to educate them. He doesn't give one single damn about the education of regular children. This is about the economy, because he knows if there's any chance for him to make a rebound in the polls that he's, getting, rather walloped in right now, he needs an economic recovery. He needs a V-shaped recovery. He needs to be able to say that in September and October that the economy grew by, say, 5-6% or whatever, because everyone started going back to work. And the only way that's going to happen, it might not happen in any case, but the only way that's going to happen is if working class and middle class people are forced back to work in patently unsafe conditions. If that doesn't happen, if the schools aren't reopened to allow that to happen, the recovery doesn't happen, and Trump loses. And Trump deserves to lose because he has not done the things needed to make the United States safe enough to allow for a V-shaped recovery that you're seeing in some other countries that you clamped down, did more testing, were stricter with their lockdowns, and earned the right to reopen. The US has not. This shows the deep inequality within US education. For the children of the rich and wealthy and well-connected, they have choices. The school that Barron is planning to attend, the school that he's going to be starting grade 9 in, St. Andrew's Episcopal Church in Maryland, that school can't open because of local decree, and that's good. Schools, public or private, should be bound by, public safety common sense. But their plan was to either go fully digital or do a hybrid. The children of the rich and wealthy and well-connected, their parents can afford tutors. Their parents can afford private schools that can use all the money in the world to implement social distancing protocols. They can have smaller classes. They can use digital tools. They can rent out bigger spaces to put children in so that they can spread out. Private schools of the rich and wealthy and well-connected can do almost anything money can buy to increase safety and reduce risk, including not reopen. But Trump wants public schools to be forced open in some cases because he needs it for the economy, and those schools have no choice. The poor don't have a choice. It's either no education or the schools open in unsafe conditions. And so that's what this is about. Trump wants to put your child at risk. He wants to put the middle-class children at risk even. And he wants his son and people like his son to stay safe. If that doesn't tell you everything about this, then I don't know what more I need to show you. If you want to believe that Donald Trump is acting in the best interests of regular people when he opens the schools, ask him why Barron Trump isn't going back to school. Ask him why he isn't pulling Barron Trump out of a school that's not allowed to reopen and putting him in a school for September that will be allowed to reopen. Why isn't he doing everything under his power as a billionaire and president to get his son into school right away? Because if school's that important, Barron should be right there with the kids on day one. In fact, why doesn't Donald Trump send Barron to a local public school that might reopen? Why not? And we know the answer why. His son's life is worth more than your child's life, at least according to the president.